Good morning. Welcome to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Salesforce example. Today is Saturday, October the 21st, 2023. I want to wish everyone a happy and prosperous weekend, a healthy and prosperous weekend. I've been on my job now, Salesforce job here for now going on 6 months. In a couple of days, it will be 6 months, officially 6 months. And I'm enjoying the projects they are giving me, and I'm very happy. And one of the things, well, there's two examples or two tickets that was recently given to me that I had to deal with, and my title is a Salesforce developer, and it requires a little development, particularly with flows. And flows is not exactly a strength of mine, but that's something that I'm learning as I'm going along. And I had to tackle a particular project, but there was two in particular, two tickets that was given me. One was simple; it takes a couple of minutes to fix. Another one was a little bit more challenging. So what you want to do is always tackle the simple ones first. Get the simple tasks and projects out the way, so at least this way you've accomplished something. And so what was the simple task? Well, I generally work. If you look at my instance here, my Salesforce instance, right now I'm in the sales app. Okay, this is my own personal instance. Matter of fact, let me just get rid of these particular. My mouse is okay. So this is my particular app, the sales app. If you click on these 9 little dots, this will show you other apps. And I generally work in the case. In the service. That's usually the area that I work in, and I usually work with cases. So that's basically what I deal with, cases. And if you click on new, click on new, see a new case pops up. Right now, the only fields that's technically required, and how do we know this required? Because you see a little red little dot or asterisk right next to it. That means these are fields that this ticket cannot be saved without these fields being filled in. So let's say I put in none. See, complete this field. And case origin is none. So if I click save, see, this error message pops up. Review the following fields, status and case origin. So that means I have to complete these fields in order to save the ticket. Okay, so I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to click on web, excuse me. Get rid of this, and then just click save. Well, no, I'm going to put in a contact. Let's put Stella, and I'm going to put oil and gas since we know what her account name is. Save. Good. So it saves it. Now notice what comes up. You have the feed tab and you have the details tab. Well, we really don't want to look at right now the feed tab. It's not right now very important. The users want the detail tab to be the first one to show. So that means it should be the first tab, not the feed tab. And also it should be the default tab. So that means when you save a record, the first thing that shows is the details. Because why? The details is right now what's very important for the user. They can always click on the feed tab later. So how do we fix this? Well, you would click on this gear icon and you see setup. We don't want setup. We got edit page and edit object. We want to edit the page because this here is a page. All this is a page. So we want to edit page. click on edit page. And that's going to take us to the Lightning App Builder. Now, this is very important in your Salesforce journey, is learning how the Lightning App Builder works. And we'll get more into more of it later on, but I just want to show you how to fix the problem that, or the request or the requirement that was given to me. So you see feed is the one that's highlighted. So I'm going to click in this area. So you see how this area is now highlighted. And then if you go over here to the right, you'll see where it says page and the tabs. So it's referencing the tab. What it says the default tab is feed. We don't want the default tab to be feed. We want it to be details. And we also want details to be the first one to be seen here on the page, not the second, because right now it's in the second slot. So we're going to move this up, this details up. So now that feed details is the first one, feed and then activity. And the details is the default tab. So I save this and that closes the ticket for me. Change is saved. And now I can go back, click on the back button. Do not click on this back button, click on this back button. Boom, booyah. So you see, details is now the default tab, and it's the first one. Okay, and it says who the case owner is, which is me. The contact name, Stella Pavlova, and the account name. Now, here's the main requirement that was given to me. So that was the first requirement. The second requirement is, remember when I said that the status and the case origin tab, the status and case origin fields had to be filled out in order to save the ticket. So that's what we did. However, the requirement now is we want to be able to close this ticket, but in order to close this ticket, a few more fields need to be filled in to close the ticket. And we're going to use, like, let's say, case reason and subject line. So they want the case reason and the subject line, for example, to be filled in order to close the ticket. So if I try to close this ticket right now, so I click on that pencil, click on new and click on close. If I click on close, save, what should happen? Right now, it should close the ticket. But we don't really want this ticket to close without filling in the case reason and the subject line. But let's see what happens if I click save. This ticket is now closed, or the status is now equal to close. Okay, so now that means the ticket is closed, but this is not what the user wants. The user wants the case reason and the subject line to be populated in order to close this ticket. So that means the user has to put something in here and in here to close this ticket. So how do we fix that problem? Well, I'm going to click on this gear icon, and this time we're going to go to setup. And as an admin or developer, you're going to start a lot from this particular page. This is like what you call home field or home base or whatever you want to call it, because this is your basically where you're going to start at as an admin or developer. So you're going to go here in this quick find, and you're going to go to flows. So you're going to click on flows. And right now, there is no flows on the case object. Excuse me. So I'm going to click on new flow. And I'm going to do what is called a record triggered flow. Because what I want to do is throw off error messages if the case, if the case reason and subject line is not filled in, I want to throw off an error message. So I'm going to use a record triggered flow, and we'll click create. And I'm currently going to stay on the auto layout, and you'll see why in a minute, even though I prefer the free form. Actually, you know what? Let me keep it on the free form, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to click here, and now what object are we going to be using? Well, see, I told you we're in the service. That this is called an app, the service. These 9 dots here, when you click on it, HR, recruitment, service, marketing, sales, community, so on and so forth. These are all apps. Once you click on it, and I did click on the service, these here that you see, accounts, contacts, cases, reports, so on and so forth, these are called objects. So right now I am in the case object. That's what I want because that's where I work on. So I'm going to click type in case. And then I want it when a record is created or updated. Don't worry about this right now. The object is there. That's what I want. And I want this flow to trigger when a record is created or updated. So that means this flow is going to run and trigger. See, select the object whose record triggers the flow when it's created, updated, or deleted. So the object is the case. So that means this flow will not trigger if it's not on the case object. So if it's on the accounts object, this flow doesn't work. If it's on any other object, the reports, dashboard object, contact object, it doesn't work. It has to be on the case object for it to work. So you understand that. And the flow will trigger when a record is created or updated. Okay, so that means if I create the ticket or I update the ticket, this flow should run or trigger. And when this condition is met, when all conditions are met. So what condition do I want met? That the status here has to equal closed. I don't want it to be new or working or see if I click on this pencil, I don't want it to be new, working, or escalated. I only want this flow to trigger and run is if it's closed. So that means if it's new, working, or escalated, this ticket can save without the case reason and subject line being filled in. So now let's go here. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to status equals closed. So, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to save this ticket at the moment, just to start off. I'm going to just save it. So I'm going to say case, reason, and subject line. Case, so we're in the case object. Case, reason, and subject line needs to be filled in. Okay, so let's just save it. So we get that out the way. Okay, let's just ignore this warning right now. That's not important. See, the flow cannot run because there's nothing connected to the start element. So that's all that's saying. So what we're going to do to start, we're going to use what is called a decision element. And I'm going to click and drag this over here. So the first thing we're going to check is the case reason blank or null? Right now it's null. I'm none, so that means it's blank or null. So we're going to say is case reason blank, question mark. And here, there's going to be two outcomes. It's a yes or no. You're going to say yes, case, reason is no. And blanket and null is the same thing. Salesforce uses null, so it just makes it easier. And then we're going to say, what resources? So we're going to say the record / case, and we're going to say reason. Reason, because that's the case reason, that's the field, is null. We're going to take out the word equals, and we're going to put in is null. And this is going to be true. And if it's not true, then it's going to be false. So we're going to say no. So I clicked on default outcome. Then we're going to say no, no, case reason is not null or not blank. And then we're going to click done. Then I'm going to connect these two, the start to the decision element. Now, what happens if it's null? Well, I wanted to throw off an error message. So we're going to click on this custom error, which is new in the 2024 winter edition of Salesforce release. So I'm just throwing it over here on the canvas. So I'm going to say case reason is null. And I want this to show on the field. Select the field, you're going to say case reason. Case reason is blank. Please fill out case reason. Okay, this is going to be my custom message. I'm going to click save. And it's going to give me an error message. Right. These issues don't prevent activation, but can cause problems to run your flow. Let me just fix this real quick. And let me just connect that. Oh. Yes, case reason is null. So it throws off that error message. But what if it's not null? Now, what I also need to do, remember the subject line. So I'm going to click on decision and drag this. Is the subject line blank? The label is yes. Subject line is no. And we're going to go here, record case, and then we'll do subject line. Subject is no. And you'll say true. And only if these requirements are met, which is, and also here the default outcome is going to be no, subject line is no, subject line is not no. So if the case reason is null, throw this custom error message. If the case reason is not blank or null, Then what I wanted to do is to check to see if the subject line is blank. So now what I got to do is connect these two. Now, what if the subject line is blank? Well, what I want to do is to throw a custom error message for this. Subject line is null. And I also want this on the field. Field subject line. A subject. Subject line is blank. Please fill in subject line. And what I want to do is connect these two. Yes, subject line is null. It says subject, let me select outcome for decision connector. To go to the subject line is no element, which outcome conditions must be met. Yes, subject line is null. That's when we want to throw off the error message. So I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to have to click activate. So then now we want to test this. So I'm going to click on cases. So we have new. So I'm going to click on this new ticket. And what I want to do is change. Oh no, this one has a subject line. So what I'm going to do, and the case reason is also filled in. So what I'm going to do is leave this one alone. And I'm going to create a new ticket. So contact name, we're going to say John Bond Grand Hotel and Resorts. We're going to say email. So right now, this should be able to save because it's not closed. So let's see. So I didn't fill in the case reason and I didn't fill in the subject line. So let's see. Good. So he did save. But now I need to close this ticket. So click on new. Let me click on that pencil. Now let's say close. We're going to close this ticket. It should now throw off an error message. Case reason. Please, case reason is blank. Please fill out the case reason. Okay. We're going to say breakdown. Now let's save this. Subject line is blank. Please fill in the subject line. Okay. Please fix item. Now let's save this ticket. Good. Now it's saved. So now we know that it's working properly. Well, what if I decide, okay, let me look at other contacts so I can get other names. Let's say Jack. So let's click on cases. Let's click on new. Jack. Burlington Textiles and Company. Textiles Corp of America. And we're going to do status. We're going to do closed. We're going to do case origin. We're going to say email. And this time, what if I do subject line? Clothing. Or we're going to say missing items. Oh, case reason is blank for case reason. Okay. We're gonna say feedback. But this is what we wanted. We wanted to throw off that error message. Now we're gonna click save. So this is working properly. And this is what we wanted. And this was what a client wanted me to do for them, or should I say a user wanted me to do for them. All right. Thank you for watching this. And I'm going to have more videos in the future. Take care.